Welcome to Betting with Brooke and Benny here at the FTN Network on a beautiful Wednesday at the beginning of October. A little bit of a sniffle from me here. I apologize if you guys hear that throughout the show. There's not really much I can do about it. But we got a really good week of NFL football coming up here, and we're going to start with a game that I know my co host is going to be very, very happy to talk about. So let me introduce her first. Brooke Cromer, ladies and gentlemen. How are you today, Brooke?
I am good. Wednesday, tomorrow, we got a big game. I am so pumped for it. Rams and Seahawks. I'm ready to talk it. You ready to talk?
All right. Well, I mean, hey, if you're ready, let's skip the niceties. Let's get right into it. Before we do get into it,
I am
though,
just so excited.
yeah. Well, there you go. Before we get into it, though, I do have some housekeeping stuff we have to handle. As you guys know, the NBA season is coming up, so make sure you get over to FTN Bets. We still have the discounted NBA package up right now. It's $224.99 for the season. It will be going up to 250. I think there are 25 people left in the um in the current price range before they bump that up there. So make sure you get over there. Like I said, get ready to go. You got all the guys. They're gonna have the live stream, all the models, all the breakdowns, all the projections, just like we do for NFL. We do the same thing for NBA. Some of the same characters, some different characters that are a little more NBA sports specific. So you'll see those guys over there. If you are enjoying the show that Brooke and I are doing here every week, as well as the rest of Brooke is everywhere right now. I'm like Instagram, Facebook. I'm opening up like every app and I'm seeing your face here. But
I'm
if you
even on
guys,
TikTok now.
I
I'm like
listen.
acting like I'm a kid.
I am way too old for the TikTok thing. I will ask my 12-year-old if he has
I
seen you
am
on there.
too.
Yeah. So
I like
I was
try
gonna
and
say,
get views on there. I'm like, and no one wants to watch a 25-year-old on TikTok,
I was just gonna
apparently.
say, I think TikTok is really for like the teenagers. So like, basically, if you're in college or beyond, you're probably too old for TikTok. But
Yeah.
yeah, Brooke's content is going up all over there. She has content coming out just about every day of the week. Some daily stuff, some betting stuff, like we're doing here today. And one of the things you guys can do if you like the show, you want to keep hearing it for free, do us a favor, give us a like, subscribe to the channel. It helps us out with the advertisers, and if we can find a sponsor that'll keep paying for this show, then we'll be able to keep doing the show and bring it to you for free. So really, by helping us, you're helping yourself. So go ahead and do it at this point in time. Now, the real reason you guys are here is to hear Brooke and I talk about some NFL action this week. And as always, I'm going to start with the game. The NFL did us a favor this week, Brooke. We're going to start with the Thursday night game. Your Los Angeles Rams taking on the Seattle Seahawks. Really good game here, one that I am very much looking forward to seeing. Currently, we have a 2.5 spread with the Rams being favored, 54 and a half, 53 and a half. You could find some 53 and a halves in the market out there right now. This one opened with the Rams being favored by one. 54 and a half, 55 was kind of the number that it opened at. I actually thought it was a little low. My number was -2 when I did the video at the beginning of the week, and it's up to 2.5. So it actually went a little bit past my number. I don't think we're going to get to the full -3 there. And I think that that's a good thing for you because I know what side of this game you're going to come out on, but I actually agree with you on this one. So, what are you looking at here for the Rams and the Seahawks, and is the Seahawks defense really just going to be the difference in this game, the fact that they suck and aren't going to be able to stop the Rams?
Well, hey, the NFL is finally blessing us with a good Thursday night football game. I feel like we've just been waiting for this week to actually enjoy some Thursday night football instead of watching a crapshoot. But the Rams trying to get back on track offensively against the defense gives up big plays, as you just said. The Seahawks, they're going to try and keep their momentum going. They're coming off a big win versus the 49ers. Both quarterbacks playing great football right now. Stafford completed 68% of his passes and expect to see a lot of Van Jefferson and Cooper Cup, which doesn't even seem to be a surprise anymore. The Rams, they should be able to get this run game going this game, which is something that I think Rams fans have been just waiting for. The Seahawks defense allows a healthy 4.6 yards per carry. So that could be in our favor this weekend or this Thursday as well. And on the other side of the ball, Russell Wilson thrown for 9 touchdown passes, a league low 0 interceptions. He's averaging higher than his career average of 236 yards per game and his first in passer rating. So I think it's going to be a very back and forth game. Luckily, the Rams defense has been playing pretty well, not last weekend, but hopefully we get back on track this week as well. So, of course, I have the Rams in this game by 3, but I'm excited. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this game to me, it all comes down to the fact that the Seahawks defense is garbage right now. In 4 games so far this season, they've given up 100 plus rushing yards in every game that they've played. And with the exception of, I think it was Indianapolis they played in week 1, they've given up 300 plus yards passing in every game right here. So the Seahawks defense is one of those get right defenses for an offense right now. So little bit of a tough game for the Rams last week. I think they're going to find it much, much easier to move the ball and score some points this week. Interesting enough, the Rams, and I agree with you. I think the Rams defense is pretty good. They're 4-0 to the over so far this year, though. Part of that is because they've been putting up a lot of points, but also, the way that they're playing and they're playing a little faster and moving the ball up and down the field, you're also going to have your defense out there a little bit more, and they're getting a little tired and giving up a little more. So I expect this to be a really fun game, not only to watch, but also to play for fantasy because I feel like you're going to get a lot of fantasy points coming out of this game. You mentioned
Oh
Cooper
yeah.
Cup, you mentioned Darrell Henderson, two guys that I wrote up as prop bets that I really like here in this week as well. So let's move on to talk about some of the weekend games. We're not going to talk. I just wanted to remind everybody, as a New York Jet fan, if you really, really want to, you can wake up super early on Sunday morning and catch a London game between the New York Jets and the Atlanta Falcons. I don't know why
Yuck.
anybody would want to do that, including the people in London. But if you would like to, at 9:30 in the morning on the East Coast, 6:30 out on the West Coast, by all means, there will be NFL football on Sunday morning while you're eating your breakfast and making your fantasy teams for the actual games. And we're going
The
to talk
poor
about it.
London people. The
Well,
poor
that's
London people. They didn't get a game all last year, and now they
that's
get
true.
this. They get the Jets and the Falcons.
Hey, listen,
They're gonna hate us.
Mercedes Lewis is still a god over in London. He doesn't have to pay for drinks in any pub after the 3 touchdown game he had a couple years ago. So I don't know who that random guy is going to be on either one of these teams. Maybe it's the wide receiver Zacchaeus from Atlanta, or maybe Jamison Crowder, who had a decent game last week. I don't know, but one of those guys is going to go into the English football fans' heads as the best American football player after they go off and have like a big game there, which is always fun to see when that happens. But let's talk about a game that's going to be taken on in the good old US of A on Sunday. The Denver Broncos against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh is a 1 point favorite in this game. There's a lot going on in this game, right? Like Teddy Bridgewater had a concussion last week, did not finish that game. Drew Lock came in. Drew Lock, a guy that if they liked him a lot, they wouldn't have gotten Teddy Bridgewater in there in the first place and been a team that everybody expected to take a quarterback in the draft, which they actually didn't do here. So is Drew Lock an NFL quarterback? Yeah, he probably is. Is he a good NFL quarterback? I don't think so, at least not from what we've seen out of him yet. He is still kind of young. Maybe he puts it together. I don't know, but so far the body of work that we have is not that good on him. The way things are looking though, Brooke, I'm thinking it's looking like Drew Lock is going to be the starter. Would you agree?
I'm thinking so. Yeah. Teddy Bridgewater went into concussion protocol, obviously, in the first quarter of their last game. They keep saying that he has a chance of playing if he stabilizes, but I'm kind of expecting to see Drew Lock. I feel like I wouldn't be putting Teddy Bridgewater out there versus the Steelers. I mean, just
Mhm,
give it another week. Um,
mhm.
but we'll see. I think in this game, both coaches aren't really happy with the quarterback they're starting. We saw Mike Tomlin making some googly eyes across the field to Aaron Rodgers. And after all the trade rumors we heard all offseason, he's obviously not loving old man Roethlisberger, who would after seeing that video of him tripping over himself in the backfield. So that was
I mean, I'm a
some
Jets fan. I'm
entertaining
used to
content.
watching butt fumble videos, so I'm used to
Yeah,
bad quarterback play.
yeah, you're thanking Roethlisberger for putting one up on the butt fumble.
Mhm.
But hey, it's interesting. We're gonna see some two pretty interesting quarterbacks going back and forth. But on top of it all, head coach Mike Tomlin knows what is riding on this game. Teams that started the season 1-4 have almost no chance of coming back to get into the playoffs. So I think he'll be putting it all on the line this weekend, which is why I have the Steelers by 7 in this game.
Yeah, I like the Steelers in this game too. I mean, we talked last week. I felt like I was the only one who was saying it, but a couple people actually agreed with me. Denver hadn't beaten anybody good, so they were better than 3 of the bottom 5 teams in the league, but that still didn't make them a good team. And the Ravens came in there and kind of exposed them a little bit. Now again, Teddy did get hurt. Drew Lock had to come in. There were other factors that were involved in it as well. But like I said, I mean, 3-1 looks really good on paper until you see who the three were, and then you're like, all right, well, I mean, it's most teams would be 3-0 if those were their first 3 games. So Denver, to me, I'm not, again, and like I said last week, I'm not saying Denver's a bad team. I'm just saying, to me, we don't know how good they actually are yet. I want to see them go out there and beat a good team where I could be like, all right, they're legit. Last week was their first opportunity to do so against Baltimore, who I think is a very good team, and they just didn't get it done. Now, was Pittsburgh as good as Baltimore? I don't think so. So we'll get another chance to kind of see where Denver slots in, if they're, behind Baltimore but ahead of Pittsburgh, or if they're just behind those really, really bad teams they beat early in the year. So the next game we're going to talk about here, this one I think is very interesting. Cleveland Browns and the Los Angeles Chargers. Right now, the Chargers are favored by 1.5 points, I think, which means that on a neutral field, that these two teams are basically even, as the way that the books and the bettors are kind of seeing it. It opened up at minus 110 for each team on the money line. It moved a little bit here. So Cleveland is now at like plus 110, plus 105, plus 110. You can find them at. And I think the best number I saw on the Chargers right now is like minus 130. So things are starting to move slightly into the Chargers' direction here. Would you agree that the Chargers are going to win this game? And how do you see it kind of working out?
Yeah, I see the Chargers taking home this one. They're coming off a short week after their Monday night win, but who wouldn't be pumped up? So Justin Herbert, he's shown he can put up points fast, which may be exactly what he needs versus the Browns defense, who have looked good actually. They've only allowed 13 points in their last two games. And then on the other side, Browns quarterback Baker Mayfield is having some issues with accuracy, which I don't think you see an issue with Justin Herbert. But last game, Mayfield threw in the last two games, Mayfield threw 30 incompletions and completed just 53% of his passes. So luckily, their run game has been pretty strong. They can carry them through this game. And the Chargers have one of the worst rush defenses in the NFL right now. So this will be a close matchup, but I do have the Chargers by 3.
Yeah, I do think that the Chargers are kind of a run funnel, meaning that, it's tough to throw on them. So teams just basically try to pound the run, which actually plays into Cleveland's hands. The other thing I want to say about Cleveland, too, like you mentioned it, like Baker is not looking good. And I don't want to make excuses for Baker Mayfield. Like, he's not a rookie anymore. It's not like, oh, well, yeah, maybe he'll get it together next year or something kind of deal. But they are pretty banged up when it comes to that receiving core. I mean, Jarvis Landry's hurt. Odell Beckham came back, but Odell Beckham is a shell of the Odell Beckham that he was with the New York Giants. And,
He
in his
looks
heyday,
terrible.
the one-handed cat. I mean, like, I don't know where that guy is anymore. I don't know if he just, the guy goes down to a boat for one weekend in Miami. All of a sudden, he gets out of play football. So I don't exactly know why that has happened, but his production has been literally just falling off a cliff ever since that point. So I mean, we joke around about it, but the numbers are there. You can see it. There's been some injuries. There's been a change of team. You can make whatever excuses you want for him, but the guy's getting paid a lot of money. He's supposed to be an NFL superstar, one of the top wide receivers in the entire game, and he just really, really hasn't played like it in years right here. So I agree with you here. I think the Chargers are going to win this game. I think you have two good defenses here. I think you have two pretty solid offenses. I think these are two of the better teams in the NFL. Two teams I expect to see around playoff time making some noise, but I don't think either one is really elite, and I don't really think either one is eons better than the other one. So I think this is going to be a good game. Chargers probably come away with the victory here. That would be the side I want to be on too. San Francisco and Arizona. San Francisco lost to the Seahawks last week. Arizona beat your Los Angeles Rams, so I know you're not too happy about that. But listen, we got to say they looked very good doing it.
They
This is a
did.
very, very good Arizona team. I think they have a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. I think they're pretty well coached right here. This game actually opened at 4.5 on DraftKings. It was 3.5, juiced up a little bit on BetMGM, so you can call that like 3.5, 4 basically. But even at that, it jumped up to 5.5 right now. San Francisco, we don't know about their quarterback situation either. Jimmy G knocked out of that last game. Trey Lance came in, looked okay at the end of the game. I mean, you can't really, I don't really think you can judge somebody when they're just running like a 2-minute drill or they're trying to come back from being down, which is pretty much what he did last game. But again, you saw what he is. He's a guy that can get out of the pocket. He can scramble. He can make some plays with his legs. He's got a good arm. He's, going to find some of his wide receivers. But as we've noticed throughout the season, he's still a rookie quarterback, and the rookie quarterbacks have not really fared all that well here. So I understand why it's moving in Arizona's favor. Do you think that's the right way? And what do you think this is going to turn out looking like?
Yeah, I think that they're right on here. Look, Jimmy Garoppolo, as you said, he has a chance to play in this game. All these head coach, they're just sitting back and letting everyone squirm, letting us try and decide whether who's going to play. But most likely depends on how he feels today in practice. If not,
Mhm.
Trey Lance will continue at the helm. He hasn't been playing bad, as you said. I mean, you can't really judge him off of that. He could definitely use a little time, I think, to build his confidence, especially for the success going forward. So I'm kind of hoping that Jimmy Garoppolo comes back for Trey Lance's sake. And the Cardinals, on the other hand, are the only undefeated team in the NFL, which very much disappoints me last week, coming off a very big win against my Rams. And three of their next four home games or next games are at home. So I think they're feeling pretty good right about now. If I was the Cardinals, I'd be pretty happy. But I do have the Cardinals by 7 in this game. They will remain undefeated. I will not be happy. They will stay at the top of the NFC West, which is going to drive me crazy until we get back up there. But hey, I could see it happening. We'll see.
Well, I mean, that's also why the Thursday night game is so big too, right? Because right now
Huge.
Arizona's 4-0, the Rams are 3-1, Seattle's 2-2. You know, if the Rams can knock off Seattle, then they stay within a game of, well, half a game at that point of Arizona, assuming Arizona wins this weekend. If they lose, then the two of them are tied. But if the Rams lose that game, now you have the Rams and the Seahawks would both be sitting at 3-2. And if Arizona wins, now they have a full 2-game lead on those other two teams chasing them. And it's really going to come down to what happens the next time the Rams play Arizona and what Seattle does against Arizona. Like, you're going to need some of these divisional rivals to knock them off. I mean, even San Francisco, like San Francisco is a team a lot of people thought was going to make the playoffs, and people even picked them for like a Super Bowl run and a deep playoff run and all that stuff. This arguably is the best division in football, I would think, at this point.
Yeah, it
Agree?
stresses me out. Just hearing you talk about it stresses me out. Like, why are we in the best division? This is just not even fair. But hey, we're gonna get through it. Hopefully claw our way back up to the top.
Well, I mean, just to kind of show you the difference here, right? The next game we're going to talk about is the Buffalo Bills against the Kansas City Chiefs. Buffalo's division is my New York Jets, who suck, the Miami Dolphins, who I'm not going to say they suck, but they're still.
We're pretty
A,
close.
I'm not going to say they're. I'm not going to say they're about to be good. They're still like a decent amount of pieces away from being a good football team. And then you have the New England Patriots, who have, an elite level defense, but again, and I like Mac Jones. This isn't a knock on Mac Jones, but it's another rookie quarterback. It's not like they have like amazing skill position players. They have solid grinders at running back. They have some of these guys that are veterans that have been around at wide receiver, but it's not like they have superior talent on that side of the ball. Defensive side of the ball, yes. Offensive side of the ball, no. So you look at a team like Buffalo, it's like I don't even know who's going to challenge them for the division. And then you look at a team out in the West where, even the last place San Francisco 49ers are not a team I'm counting out right now as somebody who can make a run and wind up winning that division. So yeah, it's night and day sometimes with the way things work out. But Buffalo has looked amazing. 40-0 last week. Now again, it was the Texans. We don't want to give the team too much credit for beating up on the Texans. That's if you're a good team, that's what you're supposed to do to the Texans. But they did it. They did it emphatically. They shut them out. They put up 40 points. They weren't even like stepping on the gas. I mean, we have seen, Josh Allen like throwing at the end of some of these games. They kind of almost took it easy on Houston. So, very, very good Buffalo team here facing a Kansas City team who is, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, depending on what side of the ball you're talking about. On offense, this might be one of the best offenses in the league. I don't think anyone's going to argue that point. On defense, though, they can't stop anybody right now. So this is interesting. Kansas City is a 3-point favorite in this game. They're at home. I mean, my power rankings say that's around where they should be as well. So I don't think it's too many points. But man, I really want to be on the Buffalo side of this game because Buffalo, to me, it's just more a complete team. Buffalo has good players on both sides of the ball. Kansas City, they only have good players on one side of the ball. And when you play another team that only has, when Kansas City plays Seattle, then I'll take Kansas City. When they play a team that's good on both sides of the ball, though, I kind of feel like Buffalo's going to win this game.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you there. I just think the Bills have been really consistent, but it'll be a matchup between two of the NFL's best offenses. So if I'm betting on this one, I'm betting the over on the point total. I think this could be the highest scoring game of the season. One issue for the Chiefs, their defense. Through 4 games, they've given up the second most points in the NFL and the second most yards. And against the Bills, I mean, that scares me. The Bills have given up the fewest points in the NFL this season, just 11 per game. And the Bills have also outscored their last three opponents by a combined score of 118 to 21. They've handed two shutouts to opponents. Last week was a really fun one, as you mentioned. And the Chiefs, you would think they would have a leg up, adds a huge home field advantage. That
Mhm.
stadium is nuts. But the Bills, they've just shown more consistency, as we said. I think the Bills in a very close finish, but I think that the Chiefs need this game. I think that they click kind of to go forward for the rest of their season. I think that this is the game that they kind of figure it out. It's either going to like hit them in the butt and make them go a little harder, or it's going to make them. It's going to
Mhm.
be a little shootout. So we'll see. I think it's going to be a really big game for both teams, whether they win or lose.
Yeah, and one of the reasons why I'm on this Buffalo side too, just a little betting angle thing for you guys here. This game started above a field goal and is now crept down to, you can find it at -2.5 in a couple places at a couple different books. And that's a number that books don't really like to kind of go under because they know that people are going to play it now because you get the field goal on Kansas City side if you take Kansas City -2.5 at this point. They really only offer that when they honestly think the line should probably be even further down, like closer to a pick 'em or, maybe even Buffalo being favored or something along those lines. And I kind of have a feeling that that's where all the money was coming in. I feel like the money was coming in heavy on Buffalo at 3.5 and even at 3 at that point where they felt like they had to move it down to 2.5 to kind of, stop people from taking the Buffalo side of the game. So they weren't like very one sided on the bets. They're basically trying to entice you to take Kansas City -3, and whenever I see a book trying to entice me to do something, that means that everybody else is doing the opposite thing. And the book knows that they would be in trouble if they left it there. So that's always like a big red flag to me as a bettor. It's like, man, if they're willing to drop this game below that -3 on the field goal, we better pay attention to what the books are telling us because you know what? They're in the business of making money and they wouldn't be doing this if they thought it was going to be bad for them. So keep that little tip in mind right there. Brooke, anything else you want to add here about this week or anything else going on in life or any of your shows or anything that you want to plug right now? And also let the people know where they can find you on Twitter before we sign off here.
Yes, on Twitter at Brooke Romer, and check it out tomorrow night before the great Rams and Seahawks game. We will have fantasy happy hour. It is
Mhm.
so fun. Last week, I'm actually 2-0 on the jersey challenge. This week it's
Yes.
going to be another good one. I'm going with the Rams jersey on this one. I'm going to kick out some more Jays. Don't tell my don't tell my co-host because I'm going to beat him again. But tune in. It'll be at 7:15 Eastern. And of course, I'll retweet it. So check my Twitter at Brooke Cromer. I'm excited. This is going to be a fun weekend. I think I'll be glued to my television. I don't think I'll leave the couch just watching these games. It's going to be an exciting one. I'm ready.
I have to say, I was very happy last week. Not only that you won the jersey competition, but when you rubbed it in by showing the Jays off, I was like, oh my god, that's awesome. I have a pair of kind of new the gold Jordan ones right now, and I was actually going to throw them on for the show today, but I forgot. And
Yes,
currently, I'm sitting here barefoot, so I'm not going to show you my feet at this point in time. But next week, I'll throw on the Jays too, and we'll show them off, and we'll go with that.
let's
But yeah,
do it.
Brooke absolutely won the jersey competition last week that they have every week on the show. And remember, you can find Happy Hour right here on this exact same network if you're watching this on our FTN Network YouTube channel. Again, like this video, subscribe, and then when you see Brooke's face tomorrow pop up on the screen, along with Ray G and Elliot Christ, you'll know that it's time to get down. They always have it's called Happy Hour. They'll do a little bit of drinking. They'll do a lot of gambling during the show. It's a lot of fun. So make sure you get over to the FTN Network and check that out. For Brooke Cromer, this is Benny Ricciardi signing off for Betting with Brooke and Benny here at FTN Bets.